I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Noblesville Common Council. If you'll please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Mr. Elliott, if you would please lead us this evening.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. If you will please call the roll this evening.
Mr. Boyce.
Present.
Mr. Davis.
Present.
Mr. Elliott.
Present.
Mr. Johnson.
Present.
Mr. Peterson.
Present.
Mr. Swartz.
Present.
Mr. Smith.
Present.
Mr. Thurston.
Present.
Ms. Wiles.
Present.
Madam President, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Next is the approval of the minutes from our July 29th, 2025 meeting.
Move to approve.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from July 29th, 2025. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Approval of the minutes from the August 5th, 2025 budget meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the August 5th, 2025 budget meeting. This is also a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Approval of the agenda.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Davis.
I move to amend agenda to move the two zoning matters, number 280825 and number 290825, to after miscellaneous, and also move to amend the agenda to remove miscellaneous number 3. Second.
It has been moved and seconded to amend the agenda to move ordinances number, zoning matters 2805-25 and 290825 to being after the miscellaneous number 1 and to remove miscellaneous number 3. And seconded, so this is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0.
Move to approve the agenda as amended. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Petitions or comments by citizens who are present. I have a few cards. If anyone would like to speak on a particular matter, please fill out a card and bring it to the clerk. Each person will have 3 minutes to be able to talk about the subject that they're interested in, and that we do ask that any topic, once it's been discussed, it not be repeated. So if someone wants to talk about traffic, and then someone wants to talk about trails, great, 2 different matters, but 2 people to talk about traffic, just 1 person, please. So we will move on to the mayor's comments.
No comments at this time, Madam President.
All right, thank you very much. You got it all out last Friday? We will move on to council committee reports. And first up is the Economic Development Committee, Mr. Schwartz.
Yes, Madam President, Economic Development Council Committee met on Wednesday, June 11th. Present were myself, Mike Davis, and Mark Boyce, and the Economic Development team. We first talked about an update with a partnership with Blue Sky in regards to social media. They said that the social media has been greatly improved along with a LinkedIn page. Mr. Murray stated the city's social presence was much improved and working like a well-oiled machine. We did get an update on Innovation Mile. Mr. Haberman gave us a PowerPoint presentation and stated the department was using many avenues to market the city. And he also discussed with those efforts marketing in the Los Angeles Business Journal for Innovation Mile and the Noblesville Boom League basketball team. And they also he also stated that they were marketing in Chicago, Detroit, Texas, and Washington, D.C. It was also discussed about the branding update. They created a new tagline for business retention, and the tagline is all about you. Mr. Murray stated the old tagline, stay here, grow here, was stale, and a new tagline was needed. There was discussion on Hyde Park. Mr. Murray reviewed several projects underway at Hyde Park. He stated many of the projects were residential. Ms. Reed stated 141st Street was on schedule to be completed from Brook School Road to Maryland Road by the end of 2027. She stated she recently spoke with Steve Ball of MAB. She stated that he was working with FEMA on an area of floodplain that was proposed proposed development could affect. Pulte Del Webb was also discussed. Mr. Murray stated the ribbon was cut on the project and sales were way ahead of schedule. He stated construction was already beginning. He showed us a video, and he also stated the Copperleaf development was also under construction. Washington Business Park was discussed. Mr. Haberman stated that there was activity in Washington Business Park. He stated past development was building 2 more speculative buildings, and the park was almost completely built at the time of the meeting. Campus Center, Mr. Haberman stated the 2 large buildings in the Campus Center development were almost fully leased. He stated one of the buildings is fully leased, and that's all I have.
Great. Any questions of Mr. Schwartz? Nope. Okay, we'll move on to the Roads Committee. Mr. Boyd?
Excellent. Roads Committee met on Friday, August 1st. Myself, Mr. Schwartz, Mr. Thurston were present, and Ms. Wiles joined electronically. Talked about a number of things. The biggest thing, obviously, is still the Pleasant Street. Phase 1 is basically done, other than some decorative work. Phase 2 is still going on. As the mayor pointed out last week, then it is on time and under budget, which is nice. And everything is looking good there, and the traffic has been received much better than what we had thought. We think because of all the communication, really not a lot of complaints. And Pleasant Street Phase 3 is also on time, and it is right on budget just because we had a lot of different compacting work, but the whole project is under budget. So, also for Oleo Road, between 146 and 156, the right-of-way acquisition is being purchased right now for that. For the Parklink Pass, something that I know many people have been talking, that is now good and open, but the construction on the crosswalk on Logan is being scheduled and should be done very shortly. Hamilton County Street projects, 146th Street over Allisonville. We talked quite a bit about it. Everything seems to be going well, and they did just now open a new traffic pattern, but you can basically get everywhere you need on it, just a little bit slow moving right now. So they are doing a great job on that project, and it looks like it's coming on time from everything we're seeing by the end of the year still. Good deal. Sounds great. That's all we have.
Great. Any questions of Mr. Boyce? Nope. Great, thank you. We'll move on to the Finance Committee. Mr. Davis?
Thank you, Madam President. We met August 7th. Pete Schwartz, Aaron Smith, Todd Thurston, and myself. Caitlin Kesner and Tom McDonald gave us a quarterly financial report for 2025 quarter 2, which included fiscal results for civil city operational funds, investment earnings, funds with negative balances, and the status of outstanding loans from Economic Incentive Revolving Loan Fund, Fund 130. That and the claims come to the council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Davis?
Madam President,
Mr. Thurston?
make a motion, we approve the claims as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the claims as presented. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Miscellaneous item number 1, council to receive an annual report from Noblesville Creates and Ailey McGill. If you'll please come up and state your name and your address, please.
I'm Ailey McGill, A-I-L-I-M-C-G-I-L-L, and I'm from Noblesville Creates at 107 South 8th Street here in Noblesville. I know you've been in budget meetings all day, so I promise to keep it short and not say too many numbers, but this is the time of year when we get to really thank the city for their ongoing support of the local arts community, and we want to emphasize how much impact the local arts community has on our local economy as well as our overall community identity. For one thing, we do want to acknowledge that Darren Peterson just finished his term as our president. He's our longest-standing board member and president after 10 years of service. So we've actually named a board seat in his honor and thank him for his incredible service. This is a picture of one of the many public art projects in our county that he helped champion and physically put in himself by getting on his hands and knees to paint a crosswalk. So
I have PTSD from that photo.
yeah, I know. We almost killed each other, but we survived. So, perhaps our biggest development this year is that we implemented a new strategic plan. After looking at what lots of other arts organizations in Central Indiana and the Midwest are doing, as well as feedback we're getting from artists in our community, it was time for us to shift our strategic priorities a little. Now that this community is growing a little larger and we're seeing more members of the creative economy stepping up, we see opportunities for us to help other people implement their projects more than us coming up with everything and doing it ourselves. So our new 3 strategic priorities are focusing on leadership. We really want to help Noblesville artists become leaders in this community. We want the leaders in Noblesville to be really confident champions for the arts and understand how arts and culture really put us at the forefront of national conversations. Our second priority is economic development. We really see a lot, just tremendous opportunities here to grow Noblesville's overall economy through the creative sector. Right now, we're defining the creative sector as any business that relies on creativity for its core product. So that can be anything from, painters with a canvas to media companies and even cupcake producers, those sort of small cottage industries that come out of here. But it also can be sound designers and technicians, folks who are really, really highly trained in what they do. We also think anyone in the creative sector is somebody who can help shape the identity and the culture of our community. So we're looking at broadening what we do to support that entire spectrum of small business owners and large business owners in order to help Noblesville really celebrate the assets and the amazing people that we have here. Our third priority is community. We know that the arts are a critical tool in expressing what's unique about Noblesville, in celebrating our history as well as preparing us for our future. And the arts are such an important resource for mental health and just for personal expression. So we want to make sure that that continues to be a priority in our programming and our mission. So those are the 3 buckets or the 3 umbrellas we're going to be using as we go forward. And hopefully you'll see our both evidence in our report of us shifting in that direction, as well as our impact over time, focusing on those 3 categories. In terms of leadership, one of the things we do is we actually help support other organizations, either by passing through grants, hiring them to help us implement projects, sending them awards for work that they do. And of course, we're also the regional arts partner for the Indiana Arts Commission, so there are times where we help them implement projects as well. So last year was a record year for us in terms of support we were able to give to other organizations. It was over almost $74,000. We also I'm really excited by this number. We were able to hold our visitation steady last year. So to all of our Noblesville locations, our campus, Noblemade, the events that we hold on the square, we had almost 19,000 people visit us and through one of our programs this last year, which I think is really significant in a year that State Road 32 was closed. When we had so much challenge to some of the footprints to our programs, the fact that we were able to keep that visitation high just goes to show how much people value Noblesville, I think. And we're hoping to see those numbers continue to rise. I'll come back to visitation in space in a moment. We also, in terms of economic development, last year we sold over $69,000 worth of art, which was also a record for us. Again, in a year that had a lot of economic challenges to it. We're really proud of that as well. We're not exactly sure how to account for the jump from 2023 to 2024. There are years where we have highly active artists who do showcases with us and they sell a lot of art. That last year was one of those years where we had several folks in a row sell tens of thousands of dollars worth of art out of an exhibit. So we think that's what caused it, but we're still looking into that. If you're interested, there's some other nice data points in that slide about just commerce in downtown, which I think can be useful in the future. It's also important to remember we keep 20% of the revenue from art sales. Most commercial galleries are between 40 and 60% that they keep. So we're really working hard to prioritize those artists' incomes through the art that we sell. We also work hard to make sure we're always employing artists and we're paying them for the work they do. These are trained professionals. We want to make sure that they are paid for the services they provide. So anyone who taught a class with us, anyone who provided an activity at a program, as well as folks who have won awards through things like our Ferryville event, that's all what this category is. So we paid out over $116,000 to individual artists last year for the work that they did. The little bit of a drop from 2023 to 2024 is just due to the fact that last year we ran concerts in at the Fishers District. We've offloaded that program to the Fishers Arts Council, so that accounts for that shift. Plenty of Noblesville artists still got paid. I also want to just emphasize these numbers. If you're not familiar with Americans for the Arts, they're a national advocacy organization that works on aggregating data around arts impact. They have spent years doing studies in communities where they do a deep dive and they can come up with calculations for how much those audience members are bringing into the community when they attend arts programs. So based on their most recent study, the amount of visitation we had in calendar year 24 meant that we supported 37 full-time equivalent jobs in this community through the programs that we provided. We drove nearly $730,000 in household income through the programs and services that we contracted and all the sales that we generated. And our attendees to our programs, those 19,000 people, brought in over $500,000 to Noblesville when they came and attended our events, which I think is great. And hopefully you see that as a good return on your investment. Just to give you a sense of our overall financial picture, our overall revenue last year was $571,000, a little over that. You can see the big blue chunk there on the right side of this pie is the support that we get from the city of Noblesville. So it is a very significant part of our budget, but as you can see, there are lots of other major funders and sources of revenue coming in as well. In terms of our expenses this past year, our major expense always is staffing. It's a little over half of our budget. And then our programs and contracted services are kind of our next highest levels there. We work really, really hard to work as thinly and as efficiently as possible, but we also want to make sure we have professionals who are doing professional work and getting paid professional wages. To give you a sense of how our staffing is allocated, this is a chart of all the different job centers that we have on our payroll. You do not need to pay attention to all the 8 million little categories. I've color-coded it for convenience. So the green section, that's sort of all our administrative overhead, things like running payroll and doing marketing and our fundraising and everything are in those green categories. The blue is what we spend on Noblesville. So you can see that over a third of our budget is, a third of our staffing hours are focused here in Noblesville. And then the red category is all the other partners we work with, the Indiana Arts Commission, other cities, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that helps just give you a sense of how we allocate our resources. I just want to make you aware of some of the other conversations that are happening in this community. We see two things coming forward for us as well as the artist community. Space is the thing that comes up all the time. We currently have an artist survey open, and it will remain open for at least another month. And the thing from artists from all over the county, they're all looking for space. They all struggle to find space to make the things they make, to connect with the community, to perform. It's basically every conversation I have with an artist is about they need more space. Artist space needs are kind of unique too. They can't just go to Cohatch. They're gonna be too messy and too noisy for Cohatch. So they're looking for spaces where they can kind of work in community with other people, have access to customers, but also be able to create things that are a little outside the normal business atmosphere. It's also true for us. We are running out of space. We actually ran out of space a long time ago, and we've tried lots of creative ways to use every little nook and cranny on our campus and spread out around downtown, but it means that so many of our events are weather dependent. So the photo on this page is of our Hatch Fest this year, which was great. We had to move, we took over the entire Logan Street Bridge because we had over 100 vendors sign up for that event, but it poured on those vendors until exactly 11 a.m. when the sun came out. It was great for the rest of the day, but it made setup really hard, and it does just emphasize that to provide really high-quality programs moving forward, we need to find other ways to leverage space to meet everybody's expectations. We really are seeing a rise in artist entrepreneurs. There's always been folks in the community who have a creative side gig and are ready to launch it, but we're seeing more and more evidence that that group is growing, along with, I think it correlates to all the new younger folks who are moving into some of these apartments in downtown. And there's a tension for them with affordable space, right? They can't always afford that first floor, $22, $24, $30 a square foot space. They're looking for $12 to $14 a square foot if they can get away with it. And of course, performing artists in particular right now have fewer options in downtown Noblesville than other types of artists. And I think it's important to keep in mind they're part of this creative economy too. This slide just summarizes everything I just said. So we are continuing to work on covering a revenue gap for ourselves. We lost a major funder 2 years ago, and we're still working to close that gap. We're doing it each year, we're figuring it out, but we're hoping to level that out so that, again, we can kind of ratchet up the things we're doing, not worry so much about closing that gap from year to year. But this is a tough year for that. There's a lot of uncertainty in the funding environment. We have some assurance that we know that, for example, our grant from the Indiana Arts Commission is going to be about 30% smaller than it has been in years past. And we're still waiting to see what the National Endowment for the Arts grant program looks like for the year. So I know everybody's dealing with that, but I think it's worth pointing out. And just to give you a quick overview of what we've done in 2025 so far, we ratified our new strategic plan. We've really prioritized board development, so we brought on 5 new board members this year. We've been participating on Noblesville's behalf in the CERTA Creative Economies Advisory Council, helping Central Indiana plan for the arts and come up with a big project. I've been accepted into the HCLA class of 2026, so that's going to be really fun for starting next week. And then Ryan on our staff literally reviewed hundreds of Arts Commission grants this year, so he's seen projects from all over Central Indiana, which is just a great opportunity for us as well. We've sold over $15,000 worth of art so far this calendar year. We've been meeting with various economic development leaders so that we can start painting this larger picture. We are working on a master arts plan for the city of Westfield, which we hope to wrap up next month. And we are exploring any space options. Anybody who wants to talk to me about space, I'm having a conversation with them about how we can leverage that for the creative community as well as for Noblesville Creates. We've done 4 major programs so far this year. And those programs have supported over 300 artists and 4,200 guests. We've participated in lots of community events, and then I just want to make sure you're aware of the 4 public art installations that we've been a part of. If you haven't seen the rotating mural on our building, which is it's the image that's on the front of the arts guides I gave you, it will be switching out next month, and we'll have a new image from artist H. Ward Miles, who just bought a studio space up on North 9th Street. So we're excited to get different kinds of visual art on our building on a regular basis. We also, if you haven't seen the Bar Ellis mural painted by Rodney Reveal, it is super cool. You should walk by there, on your way to dinner or to get a drink or whatever. And there is a new Sister Cities mural next to 9th Street Bistro. We helped Keep Noblesville Beautiful coordinate that and get that installed. And then, of course, the Federal Hill Historic Crosswalks that you mentioned earlier, we helped in that process. And one of those in the Kroger parking lot is already in, and we're really looking forward to seeing the one that goes across Logan Street come in too. Our goals for the rest of 2025 include Really continuing to prioritize our relationships with philanthropists to continue to work on closing our budget gap and creating a steadier funding stream for us in these moments of economic fluctuation. We are also really investing in the artist cultivation process. We're trying to restructure. Right now, artists basically engage with us through exhibits, and we want to change that dynamic where they come to us with their needs, and we are more flexible to meet them where they are in their career. And then we're looking at each of our programs, too, and doing a deep analysis of what we are going to keep, what we're going to reinvest or retool, and what we may move on to another organization or sunset in the future, just to allow us to have more bandwidth for our strategic priorities. And then we have already started a master planning process for the city of Noblesville, too, for an arts master plan, and we hope to ratchet that up in September after some conversations with Hamilton County Tourism. We're already collecting data from artists and community feedback, and there's some really neat things and neat ideas coming through that. So that should address public art as well as economic development and community building through the arts as well. And we're always looking for connections in other communities as well, again, to show how Noblesville is really providing this thought leadership throughout the state. I am happy. I would love to give you all the details you'd like on the arts master planning process. Feel free to ask me to buy you coffee to tell you more about that process. We've really been enjoying building this process for our organization and creating tools that then can be used by other communities to learn from our experiences here. And then next year, a couple of the key things we want to highlight: we will be participating in HCLA. I will be. We really are leaning into creative co-working space and think that either this year or next year we'll have maybe a new space come online, maybe multiple new spaces come online, and we'd love that. We really want to focus on arts impact storytelling to help the entire community understand how much the arts drive here. And then if we get an NEA grant, we will be working on a creative economy pitch night next year that we'd love the city's help with as well, to hear new and exciting ideas from the creatives in our community. And two key themes that we're kind of monitoring for next year and thinking about. We're really excited about the 100th anniversary of parks and helping the Parks Department celebrate Forest Park. And then, of course, on the national level, there's a lot of conversation about the 250th birthday of our country and how we can participate in that process, too. So please remember that you're invited to our annual fundraiser at Embassy Suites on September 25th. We'd love to see everybody there. And that's the total of my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? I just want to say thank you for all that you and your team do for the city of Noblesville and our artistic community.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to zoning matters for council to consider ordinance number 28-08-25, an ordinance rezoning 0.7 acres from I-2 heavy industrial to DT downtown for property at 501 South 9th Street. And together, we're going to read that along with council to consider ordinance number 29-08-25, an ordinance approving a downtown mixed-use overlay for approximately 2.69 acres for property at 501 South 9th Street and all parcels south to Walnut Street between 8th and 9th Street.
Move to introduce.
Second.
Ms. Eshelman.
Good evening. So the project site we're talking about tonight is approximately 2.69 acres. It is essentially all of the ground between Mulberry and Walnut, 8th and 9th, excluding the parking lot at the northwest corner of the block. The project does include two applications requesting a rezone of the portion of the property 501 South 9th Street, which would be the northeast corner of the property. There's an existing office building there. And then approval for the entirety of the project of a downtown mixed-use overlay. The site, you can see the rezone is actually to move from I2 heavy industrial to DT, and that would then make the entirety of the block the same zone district. The project does have an economic development agreement. The project would include a 4-story multifamily building with 222 units, approximately 5,000 square feet of retail space that does include a public restroom. And this is at where the Midland Trace and the Nickel Plate Trail both meet. And then there are 3 outdoor amenity spaces, including a pool for residents of the area, and a parking garage that includes 298 parking spaces. The rezone for 0.7 acres would move it to DT, and they are also requesting 4 waivers with the downtown mixed-use overlay. The downtown mixed-use overlay was adopted to allow for more efficient use of land and encourage dwelling units and commercial uses that integrate within walking distance of the hub of downtown Noblesville. The district was intended to promote infill development, and this type of development is only allowed within the DT zoning district. The first waiver for the project relates to the height on the building. The request is to increase the height of the building, but is in 3 very specific areas. The majority of the building is at the 4-story, 50-foot height that's required by the zoning district, but they have 2 stair towers and an elevator that they need access to the roof for. They have a rooftop amenity space. They also need access to all their equipment up there. The easiest way to do that is to provide stair access as well as elevator access. So you can see the green, red, and blue areas are where the green and red are the green and blue are both stair towers, and the red is an elevator tower. The elevator tower is the tallest of them at 66 feet, but all of them are towards the interior of the project. They're not on street frontages. The second waiver is actually to allow the approval of a downtown mixed-use overlay for this project. When we originally adopted the downtown mixed-use overlay language, we included a boundary we called the central core, in which that district could be approved. The furthest south that district goes is Division Street, which is 1 block north of this project site. And it was developed during the time when we had no inclination that we would start rezoning property to DT anywhere outside of our courthouse square area. For the purposes of that waiver, though, the property is zoned DT. It does meet the majority, actually all of the intent items for the DMU, including it's within walking distance of downtown. It's less than 7 blocks, and it's an infill project, and it also incorporates both residential and commercial uses. The third waiver is for setbacks. And I'm gonna use 2 exhibits on this. So the red lines on here are property lines. And you can see the majority of the building goes up to those lines. The way the UDO looks at front setback requirements in developed parts of town is it actually looks at the development patterns on all sides and uses averages of what's there to establish that setback requirement. In this instance, given the size of the project, it's not the perfect way to establish that setback. So we have a parking lot that takes up an entire south parcel, which would result in a more than 60-foot setback from Walnut Street. We have another user on the north end of the project that has a significant 25-foot setback that would result in that. And similar things happen on both sides of 9th and 8th. So the petitioner is actually asking to reduce the setback to 0. That doesn't mean you'll have a flat wall right on the 0 setback line. There are undulations in the building facade, and the intent that they are trying to meet is that the stoops and the entrances and sidewalks to get into the building interact with the public space. So that is why they are requesting a 0-foot setback. And then the last waiver is to allow a roof sign. So during the economic development agreement process, staff commented on the architecture and the signage for the project. And one of the very specific requests that was made related to a sign in a neighboring community that we felt met the architectural style of the building. It is actually prohibited by our sign code. It would be classified as a roof sign. So they would build a rigging on the building to place the building name on it, and they are asking for permission to allow that. The sign itself also is right at that 66 feet from grade area. We did have several people speak at the public hearing at the Plan Commission. General topics included increased utility rates because of more users. The architecture was not historic. Parking calculations and the parking demands for a project like this. The fire service for the model mill runs through this property. And then demolition of the 501 South 9th Street building is a loss of some parking spaces for the model mill. So we did consult a few utilities. They did note for us that more users on their systems generally means they have more stable rates because you're able to spread the costs across more users. The architecture of the building was negotiated as part of the economic development agreement. There are 298 parking spaces within the garage, and that does meet the requirements for multifamily parking within the UDO. And all of the parties involved are aware that the fire service for the model mill crosses this property as it partially collapsed during the demolition of the grain silos and had to be repaired. The applicant is aware of its presence and is trying to work with the owner of the mill for the relocation. They know they are responsible for installing it in a manner that does not interfere with their building, and they're still working through how exactly or where exactly it goes, but they are fully aware that is required. The existing on the parking loss for the model mill, those existing parking calculations and variances for the model mill did not include the parking at 501 South 9th Street. That lease he had ended up happening later in the timeline, and the variances that were approved in the early 2000s didn't include that in the allowance of parking at the time. Plan Commission does send both of these applications to you with a favorable recommendation. They voted 9-0 for both of them.
Questions of staff?
Do I see, Ms. Ashland, thank you. In the site plan, the aerial that was shown, is the cell tower on 8th Street part of the project? Will the cell tower
So the
maintained?
cell tower on 8th Street is part of their project. It will remain, there will be some modifications to it. So currently, there is an access and utility easement that goes completely across their property from 9th Street to get to here. Those utilities can't remain for their construction project, so they are working through with that cell company the construction of a new entrance off of 8th Street and relocation of their utilities to the 8th Street side, not across the property.
Thank you.
Other questions? I see the petitioner's here. Would you like to make a presentation, or do you have anything to share? If you'll please state your name and your address.
Brandon Bogan, Vice President of Development Operations for Flaherty & Collins Properties. Address is 115 Edgewater Drive, Noblesville, Indiana. First off, esteemed members of the council, we're proud and excited to be here. It's been a long time coming. I think we're about 10 years into this project of where we are, and we're excited to be at this point. Since the last meeting with the Plan Commission, we've gone through and reviewed with local property owners, particularly with the model mill building, of understanding what was on the property now as we discover those utilities. We're working through solutions to that. I'm very confident we'll find a solution to reroute those water lines off of this parcel onto and not interrupting the service of the model mill. Overall with the project, in terms of where we are, we have proceeded forward with construction documents. We are at the point now, if we receive a favorable review this evening, we'll be moving forward quickly into permitting the project and hopefully on to construction yet this year.
Any questions, petitioner? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have a couple of comment cards with people requesting to speak. One is the Milltop LLC. So if you'll please come up and state your name and your address. And a reminder of 3 minutes, please.
Yes, thank you. My name is Casey Cloyd. I'm an attorney in Indianapolis. I represent Milltop LLC, which is the operator of an event staging business at the Model Mill Building, 802 Mulberry Street, which is the building directly across Mulberry from the parking lot that Ms. Asherman referenced a moment ago. You may remember that when the project was announced, my client's principal, Rocky Shanazaz, reached out to council members asking to discuss this and the potential existential problem that it poses for us in terms of potentially sapping us of on-street parking that we use. And in addition, of course, if this project goes through, if you approve it, the blue roofed building on 9th Street will be torn down as a part of Flaherty & Collins' development, and that will take additional parking from us as well. We had asked and have discussed with the city at some length the possibility of building a parking elevator on our parking lot that's in the northwest corner of the block in which this development is proposed. We are still trying to do that, and just today got a lengthy explanation from the city's council about how to the city's concerns about the proposed parking elevator that we wish to construct. I'd like to emphasize that elevator would be constructed with our money, would allow us to park multiple vehicles, possibly as many as 180, depending on whether we develop on a site across the street on 8th Street that we also own. But we're still in the early parts of those discussions with the city. We're only asking I'm only here not to say that we would not favor the development of this project. It is historically resonant with our own building, but that we need additional time to talk and work out our parking issues. And so we ask, and we'd like to have a dialogue with the council members to specifically state our concerns. But at a bare minimum, we'd like the chance to fully more develop our parking issue or our parking elevator. And in addition, as Ms. Ashelman said, the water issues are very important to us. We have our fire service line comes across the building, the portion of the ground that's going to be developed across Mulberry into the back of our building, and that's going to have to be rerouted. And Flaherty and Collins has met with us, and we're trying to work that out, but that is not yet worked out. So all we're asking is not so much to stop this project or to object to the specific variances that Ms. Asherman referred to, but to give us some time to work our own issues out that are impacted by this development.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
3 minutes are up.
My name is Rocky Shanasas. I'm the owner of Milltop Banquet and Conference Center and owner-operator of Shane LLC, the owner of the building. They're at the corner of 8th and Mulberry. I cannot tell you how upset I am over the fact that for the last 10 months, we've been trying to get into communication in a format that would address some of the concerns that I have for my business. I've been in that location for over 24 years now. I was one of the pioneers of businesses that came and invested large sum of money in 8th Street corridor. And we just basically have gotten through in the last few days on issue 1 of 15 that has to do with this project. I urge you to give this an opportunity to be discussed in further. There's a lot of issues that have been unresolved. I've had a permit request to the city of Noblesville that over 9 years ago was halted because of the parking situation. And that was the last stages of my buildings finishing up development. We've came up with 4 different options. We presented them all. It's all going to the deaf ears. This needs to be resolved. Otherwise, my business is going to be in a jeopardy of being lost. Please. I require your attention to this matter. I have asked, both through the legal counsel from Noblesville, asked directly to most of you on the council to have audience and discuss those issues. We do have solutions. We just have to make sure that those are acceptable. If they're not acceptable, my business is in jeopardy of getting closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are the only 2 comment cards that I have at this time. That was for something else. Is there any comments, questions? Yep,
I have
Mr.
one
Boyce.
question. Since there was opposition at Planning Commission, then that means we do not vote on this, right? That if there was opposition at Planning Commission, then we're not allowed to vote on it during the first council meeting? Isn't that the way it is written?
I'm going to look to Mr. Hughes on that.
Sure. So the law would allow any zoning matter that comes to you to be voted on first reading, really up to the council. Our practice has been, if there is a remonstrance, that we at least hold it to the 2 council meetings after the Planning Commission, which we've had 2 council meetings. This has just been actually presented to you in one, but it's really up to the council if you're ready to vote on it tonight, or if you want to have another reading. That's totally within your discretion.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
None.
Madam President,
Mr. Davis?
I move to introduce ordinance number 280825 and number 290825 as presented.
You mean to approve?
Approved, I'm sorry.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinances number 28-08-25 and 29-08-25 as presented. This will be a roll call vote.
Mr. Boyce?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Elliott?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Peterson?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
I'll be a no vote tonight because of the lack of interaction with the trail. Thank you.
Mr. Thurston?
Aye.
Ms. Wiles?
Aye.
8 ayes, 1 nay. Motion carries.
We will now go to, let's see, check my, council to consider ordinance number 22-07-25, an ordinance approving an additional appropriation to the general fund for operating expenses for the arena at Innovation Mile. Mr. Light, good evening.
Thank you, Madam President, members of council, Matt Light, Deputy Mayor. This is an additional appropriation to provide seed money for the initial operations and ramp up for the arena at Innovation Mile. The venue is now open, and as the mayor mentioned, highlighted, I should say, in his State of the City address, it was open on time and under budget. This proposal was discussed at the July 10th and 24th Finance Committee meetings, as well as introduced and discussed at the July 15th council meeting. Jamie Thompson just shared with me that we just hit 100,000 views on Google Maps of the arena, and the interest has been very strong, not just leading up to the opening, but certainly as folks had a chance to get to tour the venue and see what the possibilities are. So it's been good to partner with Rev Entertainment. Andrea Green from Rev is here. Really appreciate all that they did throughout the time frame, working with the construction team and design team to provide a world-class facility, but also to put on a great event on Friday, and we've got strong interest for multiple additional events going forward. So this recommendation is, again, to provide seed money, and then the revenue that's generated in the facility will then be used to pay for expenses going forward so that we can provide the type of community benefit and economic impact that the mayor highlighted on Friday.
Any questions of Mr. Light? This is a matter for public hearing, so I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing for ordinance number 22-07-25.
Madam President,
Mr. Davis.
seeing nobody come forward, I move to close the public hearing for ordinance number 220725.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to close the public hearing for ordinance number 22-07-25. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0.
Madam President,
Mr. Davis.
I move to approve ordinance number 2207-25.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 22-07-25 as presented. This is a roll call vote.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Elliott?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Peterson?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Thurston?
Aye.
Mr. Boyce?
Aye.
Ms. Wiles?
Aye.
9-0.
Thank you very much. Council to consider ordinance number 24-07-25, an ordinance approving an additional appropriation in the Cumulative Capital Development Fund to provide funding for information technology infrastructure. Mr. McDonald.
Madam President, members of the council, I'm Tom McDonald, Deputy Financial Officer. So this request would support the IT department's participation in the city's capital equipment lease program. This would allow the department to finance capital equipment and improvements that are needed to the city's IT infrastructure. We presented the item to you on July 29th, and no changes have been made to the request. Happy to answer
Any questions of Mr. McDonald? This is a matter for public hearing, so I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing for ordinance number 24-07-25.
Madam President, seeing no one come forward, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to close the public hearing for ordinance number 24-07-25. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0.
Madam President,
Mr. Davis.
I move to approve ordinance 240725.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 24-07-25 as presented. This is a roll call vote.
Mr. Elliott?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Peterson?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Thurston?
Aye.
Mr. Boyce?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Ms. Wiles?
Aye.
9-0.
Thank you very much. We're keeping you busy tonight, aren't we? Council to consider ordinance number 25-07-25, an ordinance approving an additional appropriation in the debt service local income tax debt sinking fund to provide funding for the Levinson Garage bond payment. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you. So this adjustment is necessary to properly budget for the debt service on the Levinson Garage Bond. Just a quick reminder, that bond was issued in 2019, and most of the debt service on it, or over 80%, is the responsibility of the city. The rest of the share is paid with TIF revenue, and that share has decreased because of a successful property tax appeal by the property owner. And since that piece is decreased, the share for the city has commensurately increased, and that's what this request reflects.
Questions or comments for Mr. McDonald, Mr. Davis, or Mr. Smith? I saw you
I know
start
I
to raise
look
your
like
hands.
Mr. Davis.
Exactly. You do.
Now, this is probably best directed, directed towards Mr. Hughes. I know I wasn't on council in 2019, so can you give a Reader's Digest version on why we're here for this?
Sure. In general, I would say the projections on that project that I've looked at now are meeting what we anticipated in terms of the property tax assessment, and we knew that the project was going to probably need an additional funding source, and so at the time, the city agreed to back that up TIF first, followed up by a lit back, a local option for a local income tax backup. So that's why we're here. It's performing as we expected it to. So I don't know if that helps answer that question.
That helps. In the past 6 years, how have we changed in administrations and councils on how we approach projects like this?
Yeah, sure. The mayor has been pretty clear with all of us, and economic development team does a good job leading with this. There's a few differences in the way we negotiate TIF deals maybe than they were done in the past. One is anytime there's any kind of backup to a TIF, so on this one there's a lit backup, we negotiate for a term in the economic development agreement that also says the developer can't appeal the taxes because we want the TIF to cover it as much as possible. That's less important if there's not a city backup payment, but we negotiate on those. The other thing we do is we negotiate for the developer themselves to buy the TIF bonds. That's usually the structures we put together. That puts much more of the risk on them because they're the ones that are actually purchasing the bonds. And then in addition to that, we have assignment obligations on our bonds that indicate that if a project's in a bond, you can't assign it for a period of time without the city's okay. That way we know the person that's buying the project or buying the asset has the wherewithal to fund the asset. And this is not a situation where they don't have the wherewithal. This one is performing as we expected, and there was some risk tolerance, I think largely because we were getting a large parking garage asset that the city felt comfortable undertaking.
Awesome, thank you. And I think from my perspective, I know I harp on it a lot, making sure that we find the right people and groups to partner with. And so I know that we go into a lot of these with good faith, but having that backed up is really important, and I think a step that protects taxpayers. And with that, correct me if I'm wrong, but this has actually changed ownership.
Correct.
In that process,
yes,
correct?
yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Other questions or comments?
I would note on this project, we have recently negotiated with the owner some revisions to the original deal because the city had a lot of responsibility for assets in the garage, so we've negotiated some things to take the financial risk, to take for example, we're responsible for the elevator, but the owner of the asset was holding those contracts. We've negotiated to take those back so we have a little bit more control over the financial aspect of that. We also negotiated a requirement that they give us notice if they're going to appeal a property tax assessment in the future. That just gives us some heads up so we're not caught off guard by it. So we have negotiated some changes. Hageman, I believe, owns or at least owns the bonds.
Okay.
It may still be, I think it's Hageman. Hageman owns it? Hageman owns it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
This is a matter for a public hearing, so, and I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing for ordinance number 25-07-25, and I do have a comment card, so if you'd like to speak, if you will please come up and state your name and address, and you've got 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Todd Webster. My address is 14947 Braemar Avenue East, Noblesville, Indiana, and I'm here as an individual taxpayer. My wife and I have lived in Noblesville for 25 years now, and we've watched it become a city that we don't want to be in anymore because it's not the city that we moved to and stayed in multiple times now. And what I really want to see and express some frustration and concern as an individual taxpayer is developments that are pet projects of certain administrations, whether it's past or present, that all of a sudden we're coming back to the table 5-6 years later for another $100,000 in income taxes. Well, every time as individual taxpayers we get turned around, our property taxes are going up because property values are artificially inflated right now in the current markets. All of us are dealing with that when we live in Noblesville, okay? The value of home prices is great. It's only great if you're selling. If you're staying in your house and you're getting clobbered with your property taxes, you're screwed. We're all getting increased tax year over year from a local, state, and federal level. Frankly, I'm sick of seeing it. I'm looking for some accountability as an individual taxpayer. I work, my wife works, my kids work. We all pay our local taxes. And yet, when we read public hearings and we're like, oh, we need $100,000 to pay for this bond because, well, 6 years ago we negotiated a deal that maybe wasn't as good as what we thought it was. I have nothing against the new development south of Milltop, but what's to prevent 6 years from now them coming to the table and saying, or somebody coming to the table and say we need $100,000, $200,000 to make up now? I vehemently opposed any income tax dollars coming from any resident in the state going to help fund this. I think it needs to come from other things, whether that's making adjustments in the budget, just like my wife and I do as a family. If you have more outcome than income, stuff needs to be cut. That can be cutting salaries, that can be laying off, that can be deciding not to do certain programs. I simply wanted to be here as an individual taxpayer and vehemently oppose any income tax being allocated to cover this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public hearing?
Seeing nobody else, I move to close.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to close the public hearing for ordinance number 25-07-25. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0.
Madam President,
Mr. Davis.
I move to approve ordinance number 250725.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 25-07-25. This is a roll call vote.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Thurston.
Aye.
Mr. Boyce.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Elliott.
Aye.
Ms. Wiles.
Aye.
9-0.
Mr. Webster, we do appreciate your comments. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Boyce.
I would just address that, so that you know, I think if you look at your property taxes, almost everyone that I've seen in the city and maybe backed up here, the property taxes that come from the city have gone down. It's when we add the referendums on to the schools, which the majority of voters voted for, that's actually how your property taxes went up. And now with the new state house items, then it's gonna go down significantly, cutting our budget by $21 million.
28.
$28 million. Yeah, so we are doing everything we can to be as tight as we can, and we continue to be, and we do make mistakes, but we're not gonna charge anyone more because of those mistakes. We are gonna be cutting other things in order to fund that, and we are gonna be cutting a significant amount of things in order to make up for that $28 million shortfall. So I do want to let you know that, but the one thing I did want to rebuke you on is the fact that I don't think that your property taxes coming to the city, or anyone in the city's property taxes coming to the city, are going up, because if you look over the last few years, they are definitely going down. It's just that when you add the referendums and those things, which like I said, the majority of the city voted for, That's the only thing that's making them go up. I know that's what I've seen out of almost everyone's.
Almost everyone, we're just not getting a return on the investment for all these projects to the city. We got to keep coming back to the table for additional funds.
This is, I think, about the only time I've seen that happen, so. And I've been on the council now for 16 years, so.
And we've made provisions so that that does not happen.
Yep, we make mistakes
anytime
just
going
like
forward.
everybody. I mean,
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we
Thank
will
you
move
for letting
on
me speak. Appreciate
to
it.
council to consider ordinance number 30-08-25, an ordinance amending the entertainment facility admissions tax.
Move to introduce.
And we're going to also read together with that, council to consider a community development agreement establishing a public-private partnership between the city of Noblesville and Live Nation Entertainment.
Move to introduce.
Second.
Mr. Light.
Thank you, Madam President, members of council, Matt Light, Deputy Mayor. Pleased to have an opportunity, after some time of working through this, to present to you for consideration an extension of a partnership that has provided a significant return on investment for the community. That's between the city and Live Nation Entertainment for the what's called in the ordinance, the entertainment facility admissions tax, or maybe more informally referred to as a ticket tax. So $1 per paid admission on every concert at Ruoff Music Center. It's a partnership that's gone back more than 2 decades and has generated more than $8.2 million that is then directly reinvested in the infrastructure around the facility. The mayor talked last week about how good of a corporate partner Live Nation has been and the economic and tourism impact that they have generated over the years that they've been here in Noblesville. More than 45,000 room nights annually in hotels in the area, more than 56 million in annual economic impact. So this agreement is, again, as I said, an extension of the same framework that's been in place for more than 2 decades and provides for that $1 per paid admission to go into a dedicated fund for those purposes. So the original project that was bonded in 2003 has been paid off to provide significant roadway improvements in and around the music center. There is there's an approach in this framework where eligible projects are agreed upon between the city and Live Nation to be used with those revenues. The Bowden Road improvements or corporate campus corridor improvements of 2020 is added as in the approved list, and then we have a program list of other projects that many of which we talked about last week at the capital improvement plan update discussion that are on the eligible list that will then be discussed regularly with Live Nation, and then if amenable, added to. So 2 of the leading ones in that context would be the widening project for Oleo Road and the roundabout addition at 156th and Oleo, and then the widening project for Bowden Road as well. So this is, as Council President mentioned, there's an agreement between the city and Live Nation that's proposed that includes ordinance amendments that we're agreeing to present to you for review as an exhibit, and then separately an ordinance that would require your action as well. So with that, happy to answer any questions. I want to make note of Andrew Newport, who's here from Live Nation. Andrew and the team and Scott Durrell have been fantastic partners with the city on many levels. Really appreciate everything that you've done for the city of Noblesville and surrounding areas. So glad to answer any questions about the framework and the agreement if you have any.
Any questions, Mr. Light?
I don't have any questions, just a comment that I think talking about this is really important as we look towards ways to diversify our revenue. I think this is a creative way to fund some of the assets that Noblesville residents drive on every day. And the fact that we're able to utilize this asset to do that is helpful.
Mr. Newport, you've been here, so do you wish to say anything, or just raise your hand and say? Okay.
Council, thank you for allowing me just a couple of moments here this evening. I would say that.
Will you do me a favor, do name and
I'm
address,
sorry.
please? Thank you.
I think I
for
would
the
have figured
record.
that out by now. Andrew Newport, Regional Vice President of Operations for Live Nation, 13036 Cullerton Way, Fishers, 46037.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're grateful for the opportunity to have a little bit of time with you this evening, and we appreciate the opportunity to continue to partner with the city that has been so great to us since 1989. We find that across our portfolio, some of the most successful properties that we own and operate are in communities that embrace live music and the arts, and based on what we saw from Ailey, and based on visitorship to the amphitheater. We view this to be a very positive community for the arts. We want to remain a leader in the industry and in the community both, and these partnerships allow us to do that. And I appreciate Mayor Jensen's comments last week about us being a good corporate citizen, but I think the most important thing to remember about that is we're a corporate citizen made up of more than 1,000 people that live and work in this community, and a lot of the money that comes into the venue both goes through, comes back into taxpayer dollars, things like this ticket tax, and also helps to fund cheerleading sponsorships, football sponsorships, and a lot of different community-based organizations that we live and work with every day. So we love being here. We're grateful for the partnership. And if any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions?
Matt may have said it. How many people usually come through Ruoff in a year?
Yeah, it depends on the shows in the year. Last year, we had a record year. It was fantastic. I think the record puts us just under 800,000. That's a little bit above average for us, but usually we do about 500,000 a year.
That's wonderful.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
That's great.
So we will not be voting on the ordinance this evening, but Mr. Light, you'd like to say something else?
One more note, if I may, just wanted to, one more sign of good faith from the Live Nation folks. They actually satisfied their obligation under the original agreement in 2022, but have continued to pay to the city with the anticipation that we would be able to work out the extension of the agreement. So that has not been paused, that's continued to come in and be utilized for the purposes that this framework was set up for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Mr. Davis.
I move to approve the community development agreement with Live Nation Entertainment.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the community development agreement with Live Nation Entertainment. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. We have come to the end of the agenda and to council comments. I'm just going to start off and say congratulations to Mayor Jensen and his entire team, Deputy Mayor Light, Sarah Reed, Jamie Thompson, everyone who was involved with the arena. It is a beautiful asset for this community and truly is a catalyst for that entire area. And so just thank you very much for your time and dedication to that project. And great job at the State of the City address.
If someone wants to watch that, they can go back and watch it on Hamilton County Television, correct?
Anyone else?
The city's Facebook page.
Nope, we are adjourned.